Welcome back to the Astrology Faculty series. In this third episode, we turn to one of the most profound and least understood elements of the horoscope, the nodes of the moon. The lunar nodes are not physical bodies. They are mathematical points, the places where the moon's orbit crosses the ecliptic, the path of the sun. And yet, in the entire history of the tradition, no points have been given a deeper significance. The nodes have been called the dragon's head and the dragon's tail, the north and south nodes, the points of karma and of destiny. In this hour, we will explore what the nodes are, how they are calculated, what they mean, and how the advanced astrologer reads them in practice. Let us begin with the astronomy, because precision in technique is the foundation of precision in interpretation. The moon's orbit around the Earth is inclined at approximately 5 degrees to the ecliptic, the plane of the Earth's orbit around the sun. The moon, therefore, crosses the ecliptic twice in every orbit, once moving northward, once moving southward. The point where the moon crosses the ecliptic moving north is called the north node, and the point where it crosses moving south is called the south node. The 2 points are always in opposition, exactly 180 degrees apart. The nodes are not stationary. They move backward through the zodiac, retrograding through all 12 signs in approximately 18.5 years. This 18.5-year cycle is called the nodal cycle, and it is one of the most significant cycles in the entire tradition. Every 18.5 years, the nodes return to the positions they occupied at birth, and this nodal return marks a major turning point in the life, a completion of a chapter of the soul's curriculum. The nodes are also the points where eclipses occur. A solar eclipse occurs when the sun and moon meet at a node. A lunar eclipse occurs when the sun and moon oppose at a node. The eclipses are therefore the most powerful expressions of the nodal axis, and the eclipse cycles, the Saros cycles, have been tracked by astronomers and astrologers for over 2,000 years. The north and south nodes are read as an axis, a polarity, and the meaning of each is defined by its relationship to the other. The south node, the dragon's tail, is the point of the soul's accumulated experience. It represents the skills, habits, and patterns that the soul brings into the incarnation already mastered. It is the comfort zone, the default mode, the energy that the soul can express without effort, and often without awareness. The south node is not bad. It is the gift of the past. But it is a gift that must not be overused, because the south node also represents the pattern that has become automatic, and the automatic pattern, repeated without consciousness, becomes the trap. The north node, the dragon's head, is the point of the soul's growth. It represents the skills, qualities, and experiences that the soul must develop in this incarnation. It is the challenge, the unfamiliar territory, the energy that requires effort, and the direction in which the soul must move to fulfill its purpose. The north node is not always comfortable. It is often the opposite of what the soul naturally does. But it is the point of evolution, the direction of the soul's becoming. The entire nodal axis is the soul's curriculum. The south node is the material to be transformed, the north node is the goal of the transformation, and the life itself is the process by which the soul moves from one to the other. The signs of the nodes describe the curriculum in the language of the zodiac. With the north node in Aries and the south node in Libra, the soul is learning to assert itself, to act independently, to claim its own desires, and to lead. The gift of the past is the art of relationship, of compromise, of harmony. The challenge is to remember that the self matters, that its needs are real, and that its voice deserves to be heard. With the north node in Taurus and the south node in Scorpio, the soul is learning to build, to stabilize, to trust the material world, and to find peace in the body. The gift of the past is the depth of the transformational experience, the mastery of crisis and intensity. The challenge is to step out of the whirlwind and into the garden, to value the simple, the durable, and the serene. With the north node in Gemini and the south node in Sagittarius, the soul is learning to communicate, to question, to gather information, and to stay present in the detail. The gift of the past is the vision, the philosophy, the big picture. The challenge is to bring the truth down to earth, to speak it in words that others can hear, and to remain curious about the immediate. With the north node in Cancer and the south node in Capricorn, the soul is learning to feel, to nurture, to receive, and to belong. The gift of the past is the mastery of the outer world, the achievement, the public role. The challenge is to discover that the soul's real home is not the summit but the hearth, and that vulnerability is not weakness but the deepest strength. With the North Node in Leo and the South Node in Aquarius, the soul is learning to shine, to create, to lead from the heart, and to be seen. The gift of the past is the connection to the collective, the friendship, the cause. The challenge is to risk the spotlight, to take the creative stand, and to let the individual voice be heard above the crowd. With the North Node in Virgo and the South Node in Pisces, the soul is learning to serve, to work, to refine, and to heal. The gift of the past is the mystical depth, the compassion, the oceanic connection. The challenge is to bring the vision into the daily practice, to serve the one, to perfect the craft, and to find the sacred in the ordinary. The houses of the nodes describe where the curriculum is enacted in the life. The North Node in the first house and the South Node in the seventh place the curriculum in the arena of the self, and the soul is learning to assert its identity, to be a presence, and to meet the world as an individual. The North Node in the second house and the South Node in the eighth place the curriculum in the arena of resources, and the soul is learning to build its own security rather than living on the resources of others. The North Node in the third house and the South Node in the ninth place the curriculum in the arena of communication, and the soul is learning to speak its truth in the immediate environment rather than living in the distant vision. The North Node in the fourth house and the South Node in the 10th place the curriculum in the arena of home, and the soul is learning to build its inner foundation rather than resting on public achievement. The North Node in the fifth house and the South Node in the 11th place the curriculum in the arena of creation, and the soul is learning to express itself joyfully, to play, to love, and to create, rather than dissolving into the collective. The North Node in the sixth house and the South Node in the 12th place the curriculum in the arena of service, and the soul is learning to work, to heal, and to perfect the craft, rather than retreating into the dream. The North Node in the seventh house and the South Node in the first place the curriculum in the arena of relationship, and the soul is learning to meet the other, to cooperate, and to complete itself through connection. The North Node in the eighth house and the South Node in the second place the curriculum in the arena of transformation, and the soul is learning to share, to merge, and to be transformed by intimacy and depth. The North Node in the ninth house and the South Node in the third place the curriculum in the arena of meaning, and the soul is learning to seek the larger truth, the far horizon, and the wisdom that transcends the local. The North Node in the 10th house and the South Node in the fourth place the curriculum in the arena of vocation, and the soul is learning to build a public contribution, to lead, and to stand in the world. The North Node in the 11th house and the South Node in the fifth place the curriculum in the arena of community, and the soul is learning to serve the collective, to build networks, and to belong to the future. And the North Node in the 12th house and the South Node in the sixth place the curriculum in the arena of the spirit, and the soul is learning to surrender, to serve invisibly, and to connect with the infinite. The eclipses, which always occur in the signs of the nodes, are the most powerful activations of the axis, and an eclipse on the natal nodes is a major threshold of the life. The progressed nodes move much more slowly, and their movements describe the long-term evolution of the soul's curriculum. The progressed node changing signs marks a major shift in the soul's developmental focus, often coinciding with a significant reorientation of the life. The progressed planets aspecting the natal nodes mark the periods when the soul's growth is catalyzed by the events and relationships of the life. The nodal axis does not operate in isolation. It interacts with the other axes of the chart, and the advanced astrologer reads these interactions as the layers of the soul's journey. The nodes in aspect to the ascendant and midheaven connect the curriculum to the identity and the purpose. The nodes in aspect to the luminaries connect the curriculum to the vitality and the emotional life. And the nodes in aspect to the outer planets connect the curriculum to the great transformations and the spiritual openings. When the North Node is conjunct the ascendant, the soul's evolution is tied to its identity, and the life is a process of becoming the self. When the North Node is conjunct the midheaven, the soul's evolution is tied to its purpose, and the life is a process of fulfilling a vocation. The reading of the nodes in practice is one of the highest arts of the tradition, because the nodes are the key to the soul's intention in this incarnation. The advanced astrologer approaches the nodes with reverence, because in them is written not what the life will do, but what the soul intends to become. And that intention, once recognized, becomes the compass of the life. This concludes the third episode of the Astrology Faculty series. In the next episode, we will turn to the next element of the deep curriculum. Until then, keep reading the sky.